2. Really excited for this one. Let's come take a walk. We are here at the Roanoke River in the Roanoke Valley, Virginia. And I brought some guests along today that should be rather helpful for some of you people. We got over here Jerrod Jones, aka the King.
That's what you're wearing, Jerrod, today for this special occasion.
Fancy shirt.
Howdy, folks.
You're 30?
31.
31?
39 years.
You're 39 years old?
No, Calvin, 39 years.
So this guy right here has been paddling longer than I've been alive and longer than he's been alive. And that's why I got these boys here. All about the eddies. We'll cut that. So, this time, actually, did you get that?
I got
it. All
it.
right, that's what happens when you trip on your paddle blade. Even the professionals do it.
Go up.
So today, the idea is that we're gonna build off of what we learned in last episode, which is mainly vertical stroke, making sure we have good form, a good place of starting with power. We're gonna take this now to a little bit of moving water. We're not really into a whole lot of rapids right now, just some nice current where we can learn some things like eddying, peeling out, and ferrying. Those are the 3 big moves in whitewater that we need. Really the most important skill that you can have, in my opinion, is probably eddying, because it could literally save your life. If you're going downstream and you don't like what you see, there could be a dam or something like that, the ability to eddy out and get out of the current and get to safety is what's needed. If you don't have confidence to catch eddies, you're not necessarily in control. So we're gonna focus on eddying first, and then we're gonna move on to ferrying and then peeling out of the eddies. These gentlemen right here, they're gonna teach it. Hopefully we're gonna get different teaching styles. That way you can pick up little bits here and there, and we're able to get this overall vision and relay it to you.
Okay, you're good.
Here we are in Roanoke, Virginia, on the Roanoke River. This is my backyard run, and it's great for all skill levels. Today we're going to be utilizing this section right here for working on ferries and catching eddies. One thing to always think about when you're catching an eddy, you've got to get across that eddy line. So you want to have speed built up. Don't catch the eddy low, because then you're going to play catch up trying to paddle back into the eddy. Catch it high, trust that blade, stick that blade into the eddy, and allow it to carve your boat across the eddy line. And just like riding a bike, you've got to lean into the turn. If you lean outside, you're going to flip. The faster you're going, the more you got to lean. So Jerrod's going to show, he's going to do a slight ferry across the current, and if you notice, he's going to keep his speed up. As he drives across, notice the speed, he's going to drive across the eddy line, catching it high. Look at him leaning upstream.
Nice turn. So a lot of times you're gonna blow past the eddy and you're gonna miss it, and you're gonna say, oh, whatever, just go to the next one. That's the wrong mentality. Always make yourself catch the eddy. And what you'll learn is the easiest way to do it is to aim high up on the eddy so you have extra room to catch if you miss. Travis is gonna come peeling out of here. He's gonna switch to a cross stroke so he can grab some current. And watch how he enters this eddy. He's gonna initiate a little bit of right turn right before the eddy. So he's turning a little bit right and he snaps in. The biggest key on eddying is essentially your angle and speed coming into the eddy. Also, your stroke as you cross the eddy line. There's gonna be a differentiation in currents, and at that line, that's when you wanna be stroking in, stroking through, and then we're reaching on the other side, whatever side that may be, to then grab the water and pull ourselves up into the eddy. So see how he grabs and he pulls himself into the eddy. Preston here, who's been kayaking for a while, and he's kind of dabbles in the canoe, doesn't really have everything developed. Saw episode 1, says he picked up from that, and he's right where we are now, which is some of these skills, eddy, ferrying, peeling out. He's gonna be great to demonstrate what some of you guys might go through when you get here, because it's not gonna be as easy as what some of us made it look like. Or it might be, we don't know. This guy could totally have it. We're gonna find out. Find out. So let's see what you got, buddy. Let's get some warm-ups going.
There you go. Keep that angle. Loose hips, loose hips. Keep the speed up, keep the speed up. Drive into it, drive into it, drive into it. Lean upstream, lean upstream. Lean into the turn.
That was pretty good.
Gotcha. See that line? Yeah. See that line?
And when you go low, you'll see it's a lot faster and a lot more trying to catch up with things.
Right. Yeah, because we haven't talked about that. That's
whenever you're doing these things, don't. Some people can. More than things switch hands.
But if you go ahead and shorten half that stroke to get all the blade in the water, you'll get all the power with half the movement.
Or you could really lean into the turn and get out wider, but then you're committing.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind that we have tons of experience.
Sure.
So you've got to kind of exaggerate it a little bit more to get the same outcome.
Yeah.
And that's just because, and it'll come experience. It's all about time on the water, which is what you get right now.
Experience is what we're talking
That
about
bow
here.
draw strike, man.
More, just practice. Just go. We should be out here. He can be getting in like 50 peel outs today, 50 eddies today, 10,000 strokes today. We're out here, we're doing it, we're practicing, and that's what it's about. You got to get out there. You got to give yourself a chance. We got to work hard. That's pretty much 80% of the battle. Paddling is, I'd say, about 20% physical, 80% mental. Get your mind right.
As I do this bow draw, force back to the right, forward stroke, and see I'm staying on my same side the whole time. So anytime you're paddling, you're in current, and you do this, you have zero control. Okay? You're at the mercy of whatever you're going to hit, everything. So, keep that in mind. We're going to talk about the hulls of the boat and how one has edges, one is rounded, how it's going to react differently in the current. The reason we're talking about this is because we're ferrying or we're catching eddies. So, the agent has a rounded hull. It has a slight edge here and here, but it's pretty small. The reason we want this is because if we're creaking, this isn't going to catch rocks, whereas an edge has more possibility. Having a rounded hull, when I'm ferrying, the water's just sliding across. Okay, there's really nothing there to catch and use the currents. However, the 9.3, the Rebel, they have these nice edges. Talk about the edges.
So that's going to catch a little more current, whereas Travis was explaining that rounded hull is going to allow things to slip under a little more easy, allow you to pivot a little bit better. This is going to create glide and create speed. So when you're ferrying, that's what's really important with your angle, because the water is actually going to catch these and turn the boat or slip past it, creating glide in the water. So the 9.3, you can see pretty much a full length edge. So for a 9.5 foot boat, this thing moves and glides really well. Then we'll flip over to Rebel here. You can see very similar edge, a lot longer because this is an 11.5 foot boat, and a little bit sharper back here. That's a secondary edge near the stern, which is going to create more speed and more glide. That's why you see when we're doing these ferries, the shorter boats will have to take more strokes to keep that momentum, whereas in a long boat, once you create that momentum, it tends to stay there and glide a little bit more. And that's all due to the edging down the sides of the boat, creating that glide against the current. Longer boats, typically faster. The more edge you get on the boat, the more carve and the faster it can travel. A little bit harder to turn though. So fast, somewhat hard to turn, nice happy medium. Turns on the dime is honestly still pretty quick for a short boat, but slows things down a little bit depending on what kind of whitewater you're running.
It's a really good angle with this drone.
Well, you're having your stroke is trying to correct the angle and create momentum.
Right.
Which
We're
if
grabbing
I
and pulling.
overshoot the angle, then I let the current correct my angle, and then all I'm doing is momentum.
Right.
Let the current correct it, momentum. Rather than both in one stroke.
When you say
Which turns
when you say
into a-
overshoot your angle, you're meaning by
Aim
facing-
higher.
Okay. By facing more upstream. Because if we
It's
if we're-
easier to let that
Yeah.
kill off than it is to try to get it back.
Versus a lot of times what we do is we're coming out with an aggressive angle to get more speed
Into
immediately.
the current.
Because we don't necessarily need to go upstream.
As the current starts killing your angle, it's going to create speed against the boat. So all you're doing is you're keeping your momentum and your angle set with that forward stroke rather than having to sweep it.
Right.
You know, it keeps you more in that good,
Right.
efficient form than having to turn and create momentum.
Right. Stop yourself from getting quick.
Yeah,
Correct.
and that's coming out of there, especially
Right.
being on the camera side of the boat.
Right.
You can see, like, I'll take like 2 or 3 strokes to get over here with a high angle
Right. So-
versus 5 or 6.
We're talking about ferrying right now. Ferrying is the concept of, it's the move that you do from getting one side of the river to the other side of the river without losing ground. So meaning I'm not going down river and I can go over there. If you don't know how to ferry, you end up just blowing downstream and then you have to walk all the way back up or whatever. So he's talking about, we're talking about the ferry and coming out with, you're generally going to either have, let's say, an 11 o'clock angle if you're facing upstream. Do I want to explain the river left, river right, surfer left?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, when we're talking about directionality on a river, if the river is flowing downstream like it is here, river right would be on the right side of the river. River left would be on the left side of the river. If we're facing upstream, this is what is considered surfer's angle. Because we're surfing, we're facing upstream. So when I talk about ferrying, I'm going to say surfer's right. We're going to start in surfer's right, and we're going to come out with an 11 o'clock angle. If we come out with a 10 o'clock angle, it's going to turn us downstream. Preston, if you wouldn't mind, kind of come out into that current 10 o'clock angle real quick, and watch what happens
Remember
here.
your edges.
And then while you can spin around and show me like a 11, a little left, less aggressive. So more angle is what we're showing here. There you go, good.
Paddle into it.
So watch how when he comes out, the current's gonna immediately grab his boat and it's gonna kinda, it's pushing him downstream more.
You have to work so much more, you're expelling more energy.
Right.
So you're still getting across the river, but you've got to work twice as hard. Now Jerrod's gonna keep that 11 o'clock angle and just make sure you focus on it. And one thing always remember, whenever you're doing a ferry, find something on the other side of the river and focus on it. Because anytime you're in a boat, if you look somewhere, you're going that way. So don't look at the big holes, okay? Just saying. He's focused on in there. Look at his eyes. He's staying focused on the same location.
Okay.
Forward, keep paddling forward.
Nice. A little sloppy on the strokes at the end, but that was pretty good. That was the angle. It's just like a simple.
Remember, anytime that bow starts, if you're pounding on the right side, okay, you're taking all those 4 strokes. If the bow starts getting kicked hard to the left, man, get up, put that blade as far back stern as possible. Right.
This is a back ferry. This is useful for when you have kayakers or rafts in the way of you, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? You know, and you got to slow yourself down in current. You back ferry, which often is you start the boat away from your paddle side and you throw a backward stroke into a pry at the end. Like that, straighten yourself out. So I'm gonna try to do it from this side and the other side. Keep in mind that the bottom half of my body is separate from my top half. This is important because I'm gonna be paddling on this side and I need to lean on this side to account for the current that's gonna hit my edge. So, right here, I'm gonna be leaning this way, paddling here. Prying at the end of the stroke. Just like that, coming back. And that's how you can stop yourself in current in case you don't have an eddy and you really don't like what's happening in front of you and you want to slow down. So I'm going to show this one more time from up here, and keep in mind this is a little bit more advanced move. We'll just cover it now because we're talking about ferries. I'm going to start up here, I'm going to come downstream, I'm going to try to break my speed right around when I get to a little bit before you guys. I'm going to try to ferry into you in case I see something I don't like and there's no eddy. Say there's a strainer, there's a log across the river. This is a good skill to have. So I'm coming downstream. I'm having a great time. I'm laughing with my friends. Holy crap, guys, there's a log. Turn the paddle away from my paddle side and go backwards. And now I'm not moving and I'm safe. So practice that in this kind of current. Something else to work on. I'm gonna create some drama, and typically what it looks like when you're swimming, when you first start, there's gonna be flailing. I'm gonna let go of my boat, I'm gonna let go of my paddle. My buddies are gonna have to save all my stuff. And the ladies aren't gonna be impressed. So I'm gonna show you one example of this is how people start out swimming, and I'm gonna show you how to swim properly. If you saw that, you probably weren't too impressed. That's often what it looks like when people start off canoeing. And really, this is all, the school is all about training good habits, okay? So, the number one thing that I do when I'm gonna flip over is I'm generally keeping my arms and legs in the vehicle. Try not to get yourself out, so I ended up hurting myself. Keep it tucked in, okay? Flip. If you don't have a roll yet, that's fine, just flip. First thing that you're gonna do when you come out of your boat is grab your boat. Number one thing. Your thought is not, holy crap, I'm swimming. It's grab my boat, okay? Hold my paddle. So don't let go of your paddle. Don't let go of your boat. Those are the first two focuses. And then be concerned about what you're doing, okay? If you have to make the decision to part with your gear because it's really not looking good downstream, then so be it. But most of the time, it's just fine. So hold your boat, hold your paddle, watch it this time. I often hold the paddle and the boat with one hand if I can, so I can swim with my other hand. And I'm kicking with the feet to get to shore. If the current's not heavy, feel free to just stand up. So a lot of the times at this stage, it's just fine. Don't lead your feet to the bottom, you can get foot entrapped. But if the current's slow, just stand up and get to shore. Flip your boat back over. Speaking of which, here's a quick little pro tip. If you get down in shin deep of water and you set the boat on top of your knees, just so it's a little bit out of the water, and kick my knee up as I pull it, completely dry.
One thing that is great about this community is the people in it, and meeting such a diverse crew from every walk of life really brings everything together in our community. And meeting people like Jerrod, Tom, Preston gives you a peace of mind on the water, and watching people progress is just a beautiful thing to see. And that's why we're doing School of Gnarlz, because we want to give back, and why have knowledge and not share it? So take somebody out, get them on the water, do it safely, but use these practices and these tricks that we're showing y'all to better yourself so you can help somebody else out.
Cause we need more canoeing friends. We need canoeing friends, more canoeing friends.
All right, yeah, let's just wait. You ready? Yep. All right, we're gonna add on to episode 1.
Bags, are we on? Okay, you can tell I don't have any bags in this boat. You want to have bags, okay, if you're gonna flip. This is Travis's boat, we're on class 1, he's not gonna flip, he knows exactly what he's doing. If you're watching this video for information, you should probably have bags. So, this is what happens if I flip over with no bag. That's not good. And now this weighs a lot of weight. Imagine if this was going downstream, it's gonna wrap around a rock, your pretty boat's done. So put bags in your boat. Look at that, not ideal. Jerrod Jones is known for his longboating skills. It's a Firefly 14. It's a great boat. I'm gonna show this kind of stuff. Just watch how smooth he does this. You don't have to work very hard. Let the boat do the work, let the current do the work. That's the idea. So he's just watching his angle, watching his speed, crosses the eddy line nice and smooth, and he pulls forward into the eddy, just like that. As he comes out into the current here, he's gonna get one stroke across the eddy line, one final stroke, here it comes, and he's breaking the eddy line now. And now he's just cruising out with speed and watching his angle. And you can do that with your stern pry, you can do that with the angle of your stroke, whatever you gotta do to keep that angle. And make sure you're leaned away from the current. Pretty smooth. Leaning away from the current. Nice little ferry. And you can tell he's not really expending much energy. He's letting most of the water in the boat do the work. It's all about lean, angle, timing. That's pretty much most of what whitewater canoeing is. So he's got a nice angle, he's got a nice lean. He's going to turn and adjust his angle here. And he's going to pull across the eddy line. Sucking the eddy. Nice. So, if you watch that, if I show all three of those clips back to back, he actually hit that eddy in 3 different ways. The one time he hit it nice, good whitewater form with a cross stroke. The second time he switched hands, and that time he actually kept to the inside of his stroke the whole time. So it just goes to show that there's no particular way to hit an eddy, but it's a really good idea to hammer down the crossing the eddy fence and the paddle stroke into the eddy. A lot of times people don't hit that stroke and they end up bleeding out and they wonder why. It's because you're not finishing the eddy turn. The eddy turn is not finished until you hit that inside stroke inside the eddy.
Stuck in this eclipse of the body and the soul. I've been so out of control, and I don't see what's left for me in this galaxy. So I'm going home, hey, into the unknown. Ooh, nah. Don't need them where I'm going. The aliens make sense to me. Communicate telepathically. They accept me for who I am, even though I'm just a man. We just laugh and spend the days on our planet far away. That
strokes, say you do a crossbow stroke, and you pull your paddle out of the water, and you take your next stroke. In the time that that paddle is out of the water, you don't have your brace. You don't have your kickstand, so to say. You don't have that thing to lean on. So that's what the slice is all about. When you're resetting a stroke, you do that crossbow stroke, and then you slice out, and you do another one. That's a slice. You're slicing your paddle back to stroke position. Well, let's say you're doing your stroke, and right here you clip a rock. My paddle's already in the water, ready to be my kickstand, ready to correct things. Whereas you're resetting your stroke with your paddle out of the water, you clip a rock, and then you finally catch it. So having your paddle in constant contact with the water is having your brace in constant contact with the water. And that's what that slice stroke is all about. Smooth, efficient movement.
The adjustment, right? So we can adjust our bow quickly, whether we're on the onside or offside. So if you watch him here, watch how his paddle's in the water. He could literally just turn his bow just a little bit.
Pull it over more, I can line it up more. All in one fluid motion without losing my kickstand, so to say.
I guess the point is, if your paddle's out of the water, what is it doing for you?
Wonder where did we go wrong? All the wars and all the bombs and the weapons of destruction, atomic nuclear eruptions are so senseless from this perspective. We forgot we're all connected.
Right there, that was nice. Was that some kind of backwards S-screw with one hand?
You just gotta feel the boat.
Yeah, that's what happens when you fully understand the concept. You just know you're fully in touch with the boat, you're fully in touch with the current, you're all as one, and you're processing like a computer, but better than that.
It's the feel.
It's the feel.
It's the feel.
It's the feel. You gotta
Because
feel it.
I didn't use my paddle. I was just
No,
kind
you
of
were with
like,
your hand.
once I felt the stern grab, I just kind of let it slide out.
You gotta feel the water. It's like
That's the number one hardest thing to teach is the feel. You can't teach the feel.
you have to learn it.
You have to learn the
Through
concepts, and you have to try them until you get the feel.
Right.
And once you get the feel, as you understand the concept, light bulb,
Right.
now you're boating.
Nah.